Interested in buying a new knife or EDC gear? Click the first link in the description down below. Thanks! Hey, Butt Grape from the future. I had some issues with this video. Part of the file was corrupted, so there is going to be like a hard cut. I think it's about 8.5 minutes into the video, and then I just re-recorded pretty much what I had said that unfortunately got corrupted, but I just want to let you guys know ahead of time, just so you're not taken by surprise and ask what that's about. But thank you, and back to the video. What is going on YouTube? Butt Grape Blades here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the, I'm still not sure on this pronunciation, but I'm going to say the Eutsler Neutralizer. Let's start with an overall measurement here. So the length here, looking at just shy of 8 inches, about 7.9 inches here, with a 3.5 inch blade, and yeah, 3.5 inches of cutting edge, so right there on the dot. Measure the blade stock thickness here. So blade stock thickness on the neutralizer, looking at about 140 thousandths. Sorry, just bumped you guys. And then we will measure the weight here. Weight on the neutralizer, 3.9 ounces, so a little bit heavier than the ounce and inch here, but not terrible. And then we will do a size comparison. With the Demco 80-20.5 with original goat scales on it. I will link them down below. And then the QSP Penguin. So we are at an angle, so it's going to look a little bit more dramatic than it actually is, but it is bigger than both of the knives here by a pretty decent amount compared to the QSP, and then just by a little bit more than the 80-20.5. So it is definitely going to be a full-size knife, I would consider it. Do a comparison though on the blade stock thickness, on the thickness and carry profile here. So compared to the 20.5 here, it is going to be definitely thinner than the 20.5, and then compared to the QSP Penguin, it is also just a little bit thinner than that even. So yeah, it is a thin knife in terms of overall thickness here. Do a comparison on the carry profile, so like the widest part of the blade in terms of height, it is going to be just a little bit less than the 20.5, and then it is going to be a little bit bigger than the QSP Penguin in terms of thickness, again in terms of the height there of the blade, or overall height of the knife I should say. But it's not going to be terrible, I think, to carry, and it was not. I had no issues with it. It was fine. So this is a titanium frame lock. It is why do I always lose my train of thought? Anyways, titanium frame lock, Magna cut on the blade. Does it list it anywhere? Not that I can see, but Magna cut on the blade, blade steel here, sort of this Warncliffe style blade, and it is a flat grind. Not like a full flat grind, it is pretty thin behind the edge here, but it is still a flat grind, it's not hollow ground. But that's okay, it's still, it slices, no problem, definitely. no issues there. So this is made by, and again, I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation of his name, but Cody Eutsler. He's a maker in the USA, so this is all USA made, and this is sort of like a custom or mid-tech, I guess, depending on your definition here, but it is not a production knife, it is a small batch knife, and he releases them and makes them all himself. Yeah, and he does a great job at them. I mean, this is the first one that I've handled from him. I think most people probably know him now for the Duck and the Duckling, the smaller version of the Duck, but this is the Neutralizer. I think this one's a little bit older than the Duck and Duckling are. I think this is a model from before he made those ones, but it is very, very solid. I mean, just as nice, I would imagine. Again, like I said, I haven't handled his other knives, but I mean, he's pretty well known, I would say, in the knife world here. So I definitely heard about him, and you know, I'd heard about the quality of his knives, but just a little bit outside of my price range. This also does have a sort of flattened, like, detent ball here sort of thing going on. So very similar action-wise in terms of Grimsmo, Holt, Sharp by Design, and the Prince Protean, which I also reviewed, also has that. So very similar sort of action, very crispy detent. I'd say it's a little bit lighter than Holt or Grimsmo or Sharp by Design or Prince Customs, but you can still feel it. It is there, and it is still very crispy, and it feels very nice. This has a sort of hexagon pattern inlaid onto it. I'm not sure if it's milled. I mean, there is, yeah, so it's milled onto there, unless it's like a very deep laser engraved etch, but it's milled into there, I would assume. It is slightly contoured, so they're not flat scales, so there is a little bit of roundness to them, which helps make it very, very comfortable. I mean, this thing is crazy comfortable. I mean, you do not feel the clip, you don't feel any hot spots literally anywhere. I mean, this knife is solid. And all the edges are nicely chamfered and knocked down, so there's no sharp edges on any of them there. Access to the lock to disengage it is phenomenal. I mean, crazy comfortable. Action, as you can see here, is insane. It's running on bearings. I'm not sure exactly what kind. I did not disassemble this, and I couldn't really find anywhere specifically, but it does run on bearings. And, I mean, that action is crazy, you know. There is no jimping on the top side of the blade here at all. I would say that's probably my only very, very, very small gripe about this knife. I mean, it's fine, you know. It's comfortable enough, and there's no forward finger choil, so you're not really choking up on the blade. And where your thumb, at least my thumb, kind of rests naturally is good enough. I feel comfortable and secure here. I do just wish personally there was just a little bit of jimping though on the top portion of this blade. Not the whole thing, you know, maybe about that much or so, you know. But it's okay. It's fine. This is a flipper. There is a flipper, I should say, on the back side here, kind of a very low profile flipper, which works just fine. And then so I had some issues with recording here, but it's fine. We'll just have to redo, you know, kind of what I was talking about here. But there's only the last couple of minutes of the video. But I think I had left off talking about the deployment mechanisms. So there is a flipper tab here, kind of a low profile flipper tab, and then there is the slot here, which you can reverse flick and forward flick as well. Action on it either way is very nice. I think I just kind of prefer the reverse flick. I tend to, just anyways, in general, I would say. I'm just having a tough time remembering all of what I had said here previously, but it's a very, very nice knife. I mean, you know, he does a great job. You know, his other knives I've heard are, you know, just as good quality, even though this one is a little bit of an older model, not as new as the Duck and Duckling that he's been doing the last couple years, I think now. But this one is still very, very solid. It is tuned very nicely. I also learned that there is a mini neutralizer as well, so there is a smaller version of this knife, which already isn't a very large knife, I would say, but there is a smaller version of this, and I believe that one doesn't have a slot. It's got a thumb stud instead. But yeah, he definitely knows how to make a knife. I'd really say the only thing, I had mentioned the jimping, I believe, previously, but, and this one's not even like a complaint, I guess, but just something to note is they are expensive. I think I had looked, you know, previous to recording this, I just wanted to, you know, double check. The kind of range in price, because they're not sold anymore, he doesn't make batches of these anymore, as far as I'm aware. So you have to buy them on the secondary. And prices on the secondary, you know, they can be all over the place. Some people are going to ask, you know, table price, you know, whatever they paid for it. Some people are going to ask a little bit less. Some people are going to ask a lot more, especially since this is a model that's not made anymore. So they kind of range in price. I think the lowest I saw was like, I don't even know. I'm forgetting now. 9 something, 925 maybe. And then I think I saw quite a few other people on various platforms and places asking for closer to like 11 or 1200. Sometimes as high as almost 13 or 14. But that was more for some of the exotic, you know, finishes or Timascus elements and things like that. But even still, but I believe there were about 7 or 8, maybe close to 9, again depending on materials, brand new from Eutsler. I believe they were right around that price. So definitely not cheap, and I think, like I said, that'd be my only thing that I would just mention. I mean, I understand all of it. It's, again, as far as I know, it's just one guy, or maybe a small, you know, maybe he's got a couple people working for him, but, you know, very small group of people, and it is USA made. So I understand in some ways the price, but it is definitely a hard pill to swallow. I mean, you know, I'd say the average person thinks, you know, $50 for a knife is kind of a lot. So I think if you told one of, you know, the everyday man and not the collector, you know, enthusiast type of person here that, you know, this knife was almost $1,000, I think they would have a heart attack. But just for me personally, that's not where I am in collecting knives at the moment. I would love to get there, you know, one day where I can or at least somewhat regularly buy, you know, $800 to $1,000 knives. You know, that would be cool. But even if I never get there, you know, it is appreciated that I have, you know, friends here in the community that will let me, you know, check them out, and at least give my thoughts on a knife I may otherwise never have known about or been able to get my hands on due to availability or cost. Yeah, I'm sure I'm missing things that I said previously in the recording before it got corrupted, but I think that's going to be pretty much it. be sure to leave a like and subscribe because I'll be posting more videos. And let me know down below what you think about again, this is the Eutsler Neutralizer, the full-size one. And let me know what you think about his knives. Oops. And this one in particular. But, excuse me, sorry. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.